Who we got with us today?
Pop, Ili Sanchea.
You know.
I should
And the one
pronounce
and
it right.
only.
Ili Sanchea, right?
Ili Sanchea, yeah.
And mega Soul Solid family, man. We in the
Oh,
building.
no,
SK
that's
was
the
good,
one.
man.
Do you feel like you always need to say like mega so solid?
Yeah, sometimes. Well, to the new audience, definitely. You know what I mean? Because the brand Soul Solid is bigger than me. You know what I mean? And there's pockets that know me and be like, oh, I know Soul Solid, and then match the two. But yeah.
Ili Sanchea, what we saying? Derby in the house, yeah? Is it
Derby
Derby?
in the house, yeah, East
Repping
Midlands.
Derby and that?
Yeah, so I'm from Derby, East Mids, but I'm living near Birmingham now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an artist that is new on Mega's label.
I am, which I'm very proud of.
Yeah, man.
On a genuine tip, very proud of that.
Mm. You know what? It's kind of interesting, man. Like, So Solid history goes back to the 90s, the late 90s, right? We got loads of generations who have been happy and have, you know, definitely been part of the So Solid history, the timeline. How do you, as Mega, break down your existence in this UK music fabric? When someone says, Mega, break down like what you've done in your history. How do you do it, man?
Don't know, I just maybe just break it down in decades, man. 2 decades.
Break it down from the beginning, where it begins.
Pirate stage, no, just a young guy wanting to be a singer, you know, and then maybe not accomplishing the singing dream, and then just wanting to be a rapper, or, you know, write songs, or, you know, just create something that would represent that togetherness in the business, you know what I mean? Because I always looked at songs like artists like Boyz II Men and stuff like that, so it just came from that, really, man. And yeah, just a strong mind to look at things in a different mindset and think early. So business was in my mind from early, from my dad's side of the family, yeah, and just kicked it through, man. Hooked up with a few of my friends, went into studio, created some songs, and yeah, man, kicked it off, bro.
As simple as that.
It took 24 months to get into the business and get signed, and then, you know, 21 seconds and all of that came from it. So I would say it was quick, you know what I mean, for us. But the story into before that point and what made this young person do that, yeah, that's a longer story still. But yeah,
Straight up,
quick, man. It was quick, man. 2 years in grinding, and bam, straight in.
And straight in, an explosion, a trendsetter, a trailblazer. For some reason, you know, you said the singing, you went to get in like being a singer at first. Yeah. Like the swag that you're dropping today, like the coat and like the hat, it's Jaheim-esque. For some reason, I'm getting like the Jaheim-esque.
Nah, salute Wale, man. New County, salute Wale, man. And I like my Kangos as well, so. You know what I mean, but yeah, like, bro, it's been a while since I've stepped in front of the cameras, not just speaking of Soul Solid, but speaking to the business as a creator. You know, and S9 Records is the new venture. And like, I'm just happy to be back in a position where I'm able to express and, you know, create and help people get to their next level in their careers, you know what I mean? I don't feel comfortable. I've never felt comfortable just being an artist. I've never felt comfortable just trying to have a solo career, man. I'm about togetherness. So if there's no team around it, I'll just kick back for a minute until I can see the spark. And yeah, the spark's here now, bro.
Taking control is very important, man. It's something I've even had to do with what I do as well, because people want to really control you. But you know what I'm saying? You have to definitely take control. And like having your label and your artist, your first artist on the label?
Yeah. I've had labels in back then, you know what I mean? But this one is the first artist on my label, and maybe the only one for a minute. You know
what do they need to know about Ili Sanchea?
I mean, there's a lot to know, but I think the music will speak for itself when that comes. That's an easy answer. But the first thing I can say is this is just what I love doing, and just what was just within me from a child, really. You know, the typical story of a child that's just had that passion and talent for music. But I just feel like I'm now on the road to just working hard for my dream, basically.
You see, like, Mega, how you have inspired a whole generation of artists. I mean, like, with the sound that you came through in the early 2000s. I feel like J Hus has been doing that for the last few years. And, like, you know, to all those who know, man, whether you're in the UK, you're around Europe, you're in America, wherever you are in the world, surely you know that the J Hus album just came out, Big Conspiracy, his second album. You know what I'm saying? And like, person like me who's a fan, I sit down and I think to myself, am I being biased? Because I love J Hus, and I'm not scared to say it. I love J Hus. And he's done a lot for this UK music industry of recent times, for this generation. But am I being biased? Is the Big Conspiracy album a great album, or are we just sitting here being biased?
Bro, there's a lot of people in the business that are wired differently, and it takes a very seasoned mind, an experienced mind and eyesight to actually actually identify them. And there's quite a few of them, like Stormzy, Giggs, Skepta, JME, Wiley, H, Bugsy, Chipmunk. There's quite a few of them that they're just totally different from the rest of what they're doing. And when I look at what J Hus is doing, it's like he comes to me across as a musician. Like in his early days, Beethoven, you know what I mean? Like learning musical notes, and then he just thought, you know what, this is long, there's an easier way, you know what I mean? But no, he's a very, very creative youth, man. He's wired different, and he's understanding himself. From how I see how he handles social media, people actually, but when you're different and you express your mindset, the reality of your mindset, people take a very long while to actually adapt to it and realize that that's some real substance there. When I first looked at it, I thought it was weird and a bit like, does someone need to speak to people like that? But nah, they're wired different, man. And people say the same thing as Kanye. He's not as far as Kanye, but I feel he's a legend, man. He's a legend in his own right, and it's nothing to do with the time. It's just that the effect that he has when he does release something. Yeah, man, you see the masses leap to that, man. It's crazy.
The legend title gets thrown around like so easy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just want to break down a few things when it comes to that Big Conspiracy album, because after Common Sense, the debut album, stellar album, cult classic, you come with the second album, which is a surprise drop after a leak. I don't know if that was part of the marketing. Like this,
I didn't even hear the
I'm saying, so I didn't hear the leak neither, but there was the leak,
it,
and then like after that, it seemed like the hand was forced and the album was released without proper promo.
You see, the thing is, when you leak a song, it's like no one can play it online. No one can like really upload it to any of their platforms and try and make money from it and hustle it in any crazy sort of way, especially when you're signed to a major. Like, it's very difficult to really...
Artists and labels have used the leak as part of marketing, though.
Yeah, because...
Do you know what I'm saying?
People
like, we're gonna pretend it's a leak, and then this is the way that we're gonna release it. We're testing out.
Let's think about what a leak is. Regardless whether something's leaked or not, people still subscribe to streaming platforms. They've still got their YouTube Premium or, their accounts with iTunes and that. And when the tune appears, they're still gonna play it via those. You know what I mean? It's still gonna be on playlists and stuff. So.
Suppose it could be looked at as a preview.
It doesn't really hit the art. It doesn't really damage the artist as it used to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because when it was a leak before, people aren't too inclined to download music anymore. They want to stream it on their music device anyway. Yeah. So they'll, even when it comes out on streaming, it's mad how the psyche's been changed back and reset again from people bootlegging and downloading to now wanting to legally stream.
Yeah.
But things I want to break down about this Big Conspiracy album, even the title Big Conspiracy, was that part of it for it to be leaked, But that aside, you know what I'm saying? 13 tracks on the album, 3 features over 4 tracks, an instrumentation on the album, like there's a real musicality to it. There's a message. Black is beautiful. Do you know what I'm saying? There's upliftment on the album, and like I say, like a unique sound as well. Some people have said that it's not versatile enough. I've said that there's versatility on the album. I feel like there's versatility on the album, so that's weak.
You're never gonna please everybody in music, and that's what music's about, man. The artist goes through certain, dimensions in life where they feel that they need to express a certain side of him, and that's what you're gonna get for that particular album. It's like even when you read a book, like that's a percentage of someone's life, but yet I might step out and give you a Bible or give you a you know what I mean, a religious book and say everything in that book is what you need to know about everything. You know what I mean? And common sense does rise above that a little bit. So when you see an artist develop something and give it to the masses, yeah, you're going to get criticized, man, because maybe you want a different side of J Hus, which he isn't there anymore. You know what I mean? He isn't the same lean and bop J Hus that, you understand what I'm saying? Like, he's in a different stage of his life, so he's expressing what he needs to at this point. And I think it's spot on.
It's bigger even than just music.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm about to speak about something that people haven't even really realized, that like J Hus is actually a patron for this African movement. Do you know what I'm saying? Before certain artists that came out in the UK, people weren't really getting down with the African vibe like
Facts.
that. I feel like artists like J Hus have really educated people on the culture. Do you know what I'm saying?
For just being themselves. I just think he's authentic. It's not that you don't care what people think, but he's just who he is. You know what I mean? And anyone and everyone can respect a person that is just content with being who they are.
Yeah.
Anyone looking awkward to be themselves, we feel it, and it's like, who is that?
You rate him,
You know what I'm saying? I rate him still. I've got more to research, if that's the word, or listen to him, take him in. But
you hear that, J Hus, she rates you, man. So we're coming for the feature.
yeah, next album.
Trust.
That's so good, yeah.
When an artist is like brave enough as well, whether it's a debut album or a second album as well, to not have too many features on their album, that's something of note as well. Like, artists have always wanted to, some big artists as well, hella features on the album. When I see an artist who puts out an album and there's not too much features on an album, it's something that I take note of and I respect.
What do you get from that? What
is that they're brave enough to stand on their own and say, this is my style and this is what I'm giving you, as opposed to wanting to like sort of jump on other people's wave.
I mean, it's a balance with music, because some artists have already done tons of albums by themselves, and then in today's market you've got a new generation that sees them do crazy features and think it's just bare features. I know why they done that, for this or for that, or for marketing purposes and so forth. But in the sense, man, like, you got to let an artist breathe. Sometimes artists are fans of themselves as well as other entertainers, and as soon as they get a connect with an entertainer, they would love to create music with them.
That's true.
So,
taking the opportunity.
like, fans, you have to look at us entertainers as fans too. And if you met us, what would you do if you was in the studio and someone said make a tune? You're gonna make a tune, or someone in your team suggests you lot should get in the studio. I'm gonna make it happen.
Straight
and
up.
make it happen.
A lot of the times we can smell a rat though. We can tell when artists want to co-produce something and co-cook, as opposed to one artist, no matter how big or small they are, saying, I want to collaborate with this artist to take their wave, suck their wave, take their style, take their audience. I mean, there's a bit of business involved, like, let's share each other's audiences, but you can smell a rat sometimes when an artist wants to collaborate to just basically rape an audience. I don't know, it's a mad word I use still.
It's a mad word.
You notice that? You notice that? Yeah. Well, see me, as someone in the business, I have to look at it different. I've been in the business long enough to see so many artists develop their dreams and so many artists not. And we kind of have to accept that not everyone is actually going to be the top artist. Not every crew, not every solo rapper. Like, if you come out, say if you're out in these times and then you have, the top 10 artists right now, you know what it takes to be the 20th and the 50th top artist, and how much labels are fighting for the position of top 10s and billboard spaces and release dates, and to actually fight and that battle, especially when majority of them are with major labels. You know what I mean? So we got to kind of like just understand it from that sense, because the games, you as a solo artist, there's only so much traction that you can bring to your platform in a short space of time if you don't have certain things attached to it. Whether it's a key producer, whether it's a key feature. And like I say, majority of the time I have to think my business mind when there's finances on the table and contracts are a minimum of 3-5 years or whatever. there's a certain period of time you have to be like, you know what, we have to focus on the numbers now.
Yeah.
You've had your fun, you know what I mean? Like there's a point where an artist can have their fun, but then there's a point when the business says, all right, cool,
There's
if your fun worked and it definitely created crazy paper, you're a genius.
Yeah.
Continue to do your thing. But when it stops working, we have to assess that at that point and be like, do we start hitting the numbers? Blessings. Big actor, man, big actor. But yeah, I'm not even going to say
Shouts to
his
Michael
name,
from
but
Blue
yeah,
Story
yeah.
still.
Yeah, shout out, Mike, you get me? But yeah, like, yeah, you just have to look at it like that, and when there's a lot of money involved and a period of time where money needs to be recouped, then yeah, certain things have to be considered.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Ili, what's your plight in regards to, you know, coming out as a reintroduction or a new artist? When you're coming out, how much of you wants to be on a thing like, this is my style and I'm going with my style fully, as opposed to compromise and going with the wave? How much of that game do you play? Because, you know, there's a market there and you see what's running, and you know that if you plug into that wave, you could, you know, capture an audience quickly, but at the same time, you water down your integrity and your soul. As opposed to you could just give them full 100% your thing, but then you run the risk of like, I don't really know about this style, and people finding it difficult to get with. Where do you lie with that balance?
I think it's a good question, and I think for me personally, I suppose it's a business mindset to have, to look at what's happening now and where you fit into all of that. But I'm not trying to fit in. I'm just doing what I love doing, and I'm hoping people take to it. But like for me, for example, there's just certain things I wouldn't do. Or, you know, you have your moral compass, you have your limits with stuff, you have your, you know, conversations we've had recently. And yeah, I'll just always stand by that. Anything you see me do will be because I'm cool to look that way or to represent that or to have tried that. I won't be doing anything that's like within myself that I know I just did for the clout or no. Because I want to live with myself.
Tell him how it came about, like just you focusing on getting to where you're at with your sound of music. Go on, get in the process.
That's mad.
Tell him what happened, like just musical stages.
Yeah, musical stages.
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, I started off from a kid, maybe how old? 12, something like that, 13, in like a gospel choir. It was an African gospel choir at first, speaking languages I didn't even know, but I was just learning the lyrics in my dad's choir, like, I didn't even like it, you know what I mean? Then turned into gospel choir within church. That's where I sort of noticed I had a voice, singing voice at the time. Then obviously Miss Dynamite, So Solid Crew, even Craig David. I'm probably forgetting names, but yeah, a lot of things then just started to hit me where I was like, what? I can combine that singing voice there with, like, I always mention Miss Dynamite because I love her. But yeah, so then I hit a phase of knowing that, okay, I want to sing, I want to rap, but how am I blending that? I was just playing with it for a while. So my hooks would be all singing and verses would be straight rap. And it's like, it's not there. But I was just following the way of doing what I'm doing. Long story short, when me and Megs actually had a proper conversation about what we want to do, what Mega could see in me and thought he could help mentor me or bring me to be my best me, after just certain conversations about self and goals and where you want to be, it's like certain things just gelled. So obviously I grew up on a lot of dancehall and a range of stuff really. So obviously my first single was with Vibes Cartel, which I'm proud of that as well, because like Megs,
shout out to Chucky.
No, guys, the same way, man. So yeah, I think it was good for me to have that experience and get right in there with him, having that big influence of dancehall, because it just showed me that, yeah, that's a part of me, but where am I? Mm-hmm. What's Ili Sanchea offering? Like, what's my sound for the people? And I think when me and Megs did speak, it just grounded me, not back into UK, because I am UK, but my sound just started gelling. So bits of everything I've done now in my past just started gelling. So yeah, I'm proud of what I'm doing, but I can say it's constant growth. So
straight up. ONSITE Podcast, man. We in conversation. Levi's, Haus, Strauss, SK Vibemaker, Ili Sanchea's here. Mega so solid. I have to say mega so solid because that's how the man himself says it. You know what I mean?
Right.
How many artists out here in this healthy UK music thing that we got going on at the moment do you think are making music out of passion versus trend? Like them saying, you know what,
I like these questions.
You know what, like this is popping right now. I'm gonna make that, and they might be, you know, striving off of it and having a lot of success off of it, as opposed to making what they really love, what they wanted to do in their bedroom. How many artists do we think that are actually making music that they passionately care about?
There's quite a few artists who are, but then you have to look into your background, your cultural background, and who you are if you want to hit a certain genre when it comes to certain styles of music also. But the partying side of it is free to all. The partying, the raving side of it is free to all. But if you don't have a real cultural connection with a certain style of music, then it would be difficult for you to be accepted in that genre as an authentic Afrobeats artist or African artist or Caribbean dance or reggae artist or hip hop art. You know what I mean? You kind of got to look at it from that balance. But then at the same time, like, it's open for all, bro. It's open for all, man. With the internet basis, it's open for all.
I like what you said about the party and club side of things, but at the same time, do we feel that any artist who is a student of this music fabric here, of what's going on in the UK, London in particular at the moment, where the Afro wave things pop in and the dancehall kind of things pop in, if you're a student and you proper do your research, does that still give you the same credibility?
I would say I've had an experience of that myself. I think it's good to follow your heart and do what you want to do. But at any point, if it feels like you're not being yourself, or you've not fully got there with your sound, then just explore more till you find it. And back to the question you asked about how many artists do you think are doing this from passion or just to follow a marketing thing. I think I can't talk and say, I don't think a lot are, because I don't know their hearts. But you can sense things.
Yeah, you can sense. You
can tell when there's full love behind what someone's doing, because there's just an element of, here I am. Like you said, J Hus is a perfect example. So me personally, I feel like I want to see more of that, because I feel like I don't see that much authenticness personally.
Let's not get it twisted. There's a lot of bandwagoners out here.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that when the garage thing was popping,
SK's
a lot of people were doing garage.
He's throwing them punches today, man.
But it's the realness. It's the realness, man. When garage was popping, people were doing garage. When grime's popping, everyone's doing grime. When drill's popping, everyone's doing drill, UK drill.
Okay.
When Afro wave things popping, everyone's doing that. But in your bedroom, were you really doing that? Were you like, some people, you might be surprised, they might actually be like actual rappers, like backpack rappers, but they're like, I can't really come out doing some Lupe Fiasco thing, so I'm gonna come out doing a J Hus thing. That's where I come with the argument of the passion versus the marketing. You know what I'm saying?
I think
because there's a lot of bandwagoning that happens.
Yeah, I think as long as you put you on anything, do it. Because we spoke about that. I've touched a drill beat before. Am I a drill artist? Nope. But I'll touch drill and just put Ili on it, maybe.
Like before, even like the singles that she rolled out, there was a couple of song suggestions, and it's like Ili was heading in the route where, nah, man, I'm just gonna release this because I just feel like I should just hit with this sort of sound.
Yeah, I did have that head for a minute.
One night I just sat there and was like, nah, there's something that you done that I think is your style, but you've already done it.
Didn't even mention that.
And then that's when I clicked back and I said, yo, this is your style. Like, this is what you should tap into, you know what I mean, of your craft, because you do it effortlessly. You know what I mean?
Because labels get involved as well. Labels get involved and they push artists in directions, but at the same time, those people often get criticized. But I always think that a good...
Like I say, going to the whole thing, it's like, I just say it's each to their own, because, bro, like, there comes a time where someone feels that if it's not working for them, they've got to try any which way possible, man. It's a jungle out here, bro. And if it was a jungle in the streets, it's going to be no different in the business world. It's going to be no different in the entertainment world. People will bite styles, people will bite looks, people will bite, you know, personalities, reputations, whatever it is, and make it look like what it ain't. You know what I mean? Just to cut through. People see a sound that they like and jump on a wave, you know, and they could make a few £100 from it or a few million from it. It's totally down to them. You know what I mean?
I respect the hustle and the business
the
side of
people
things,
who-
because people could be in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
The ones who actually have longevity in the business, you'll see it. And everybody can't be the same. You know what I mean? Not everybody in this world is going to be business owners. There's some people that love copying, that love following, and that's what they do. They love it. You know what I mean? And let's appreciate them for their position. Same way how people just don't want to have the responsibility of running a business, running a company. If I want to do that, you know what I mean? They just want to work and they just want to buy their house and live a nice, calm life with their kids. They don't feel like they want to be responsible for things. So and everyone has to accept that as well. We have a culture here where it's kind of look what I'm doing to the man that looks like you. You know what I mean? Or look what I'm doing to the girl that looks like you. We're comfortable with, you know, pointing out that competitive sort of biting styles amongst us, while other genres, because Mike GLC touched on it, other genres and other cultures ain't even doing it. You can't look at the, you know, the Asian culture. You can't look at, you know, pop music and pop bands and actually see them trying to write music and na with each other's lifestyles. You don't see it. So it's like when we kind of understand that we where the real competition is, we cut that out and we give everyone else a breather. You know what I mean? And when everyone else gets a breather, the pressure just lowers a bit. You understand what I'm saying? Because sometimes we can't see past our own estate, or sometimes the competition is so high and so far-fetched and alien to them. We only feel that we need to kind of like just copy, bite, follow, you know what I mean? Criticize everybody who does something similar to us. I think we got to eradicate that quick, and the quicker we do, we'll speed up the process. You know what I mean?
And get onto bigger things.
UK music, man, speed up the process and get onto bigger things, man.
Straight up.